Alright, welcome back to another Crabby Dice talks and rants and all that stuff about Kickstarter. So if you've never watched one of my videos before, this is just a 100% subjective take on a couple of the campaigns that I'll be covering. So my opinion on the gameplay, if it looks interesting, if there's some flaws that I see, on the value, what you're getting in the box, the future value, maybe if you can get your money back for the game and all that stuff. So again, this is my opinion. Smash that dislike button if you disagree. Write in the comments below. Smash that like button if you agree. Today we're going to look at three campaigns. We got the Project L expansion, we got Veiled Fate, and we got Freedom 5. So let's just get started. Alright, let's tackle our first one here. Something I'm really excited about. As you can see, I'm in for $1, but I might change that later on. We'll see how things go. So here we go, 6,600 backers, 3 days to go. Sorry for being so late on this one. Brought to us by Board Cubator, probably my new favorite Kickstarter company name. Fantastic, I love it. I can't really go through their backlog. They've only released 2 games, Space Race and this, so I was actually not a fan of Space Race, but this one looks more up my alley. Alright, so this is a really simple game. Let's talk about gameplay first. You have 3 or 4 different actions. It's a polyomino engine builder / recipe fulfillment. All amazing words in my book, in my vocabulary. So essentially one of the actions is grabbing one of these puzzle tiles. Another action is placing one of your acrylic bits onto the puzzle tile, and another action could be upgrading one of your one of these bits, the ones that you haven't played yet. All right, so essentially that's what you're doing. 3 actions a turn, trying to fill up these cards. When you fill up a card, you'll get the points on the top left, and you get a new piece into your supply from the top right. All right, so really simple, really engaging. I watched multiple reviews, playthroughs. I tried my hardest to find something to complain about in this game, and for the life of me, I could not. Okay, so really engaging gameplay. Even love the double layered boards and the amazing acrylic pieces. It'll keep new players or people you're introducing this game to really engaged into the game, and they'll be wowed by how great the game sort of looks and feels, how easy it is to play. All right, so great stuff. Also, another thing that they're introducing here is this is for the expansion. I probably forgot to mention it at the top here. This is the expansion, because they've already released Project L in the previous campaign, but you can get the base game here. The expansions are great. They sort of gamify the game a little bit. They introduce this finesse expansion where you can pay coins to take extra actions, and there's ways to get the coins. So you know, it's gamifying it. So if you're playing it on a game night with gamers, you want to play with more expansions to keep them more engaged. All right, so great things all around. You can get the Ghost Pieces expansion, which was released in the previous campaign. You can still get it here, no problem. Alright, so that's the gameplay. All good things. Nothing bad I can say about it. Let's talk about value next. Gotta go down. There's a lot of people who did reviews and playthroughs for this game. Here we go. So value. What I'm going to say is that before we start on value, at the end, it does say that Asmodee picked this up and is going to print it out in retail. So if you just want the base game, wait till retail. It'll be less than what you're going to pay here. All right, guaranteed. No doubts about it, because if you're just getting a base game, for every Kickstarter ever made, you're going to be paying less than the Kickstarter price, because you're going to take out shipping. Okay. What are you going to get in the base game? 52 tiles, a ton of bits, and a cloth bag. Alright, it doesn't seem like much, but remember, it is double layered boards, it is acrylic tiles, so it's pretty high quality stuff. The one complaint I will have, that maybe the first campaign addressed, was that this box is way too small. It might fit this stuff, but if you're getting multiple expansions, that's one reason why I'm in only at $1. I really want a big box to be released that'll hold everything. I don't want to have multiple boxes all over the place and sort of take out a box depending on who I'm playing with. That just annoys me. I would love a big box. Okay, especially if you want to sort your acrylic tiles. One of the things they're like, dump it all in a bag. I'm like, no, you're gonna want to sort these. It'll probably be a better idea. And if you're gonna sort them in plastic pieces inside your box, you're gonna run out of space. All right, there's the expansions. What are you gonna get in the expansions? There's these 30 tiles with the, I think they're metal credits, high quality stuff, don't worry about it. The other Ghost expansion, more tiles, 24 tiles, 30 more acrylic tiles, bits here, and so on and so on. So let's just talk value here quick. If you're a returning backer, goes without saying, just get this little add-on here. It's just the expansion. It'll cost you 15 bucks. It's 20 plus about $10 shipping, so 30 bucks. It's an okay value. It is a little on the expensive side because you're getting only 30 cards and 30 metal coins for $30. It's okay, but you do get a revised rulebook, which is good. All right, so but you're already in from the previous campaign, might as well just throw 30 bucks in here and you'll get the expansion. Now, what you're gonna get if you don't have the base game, you have two choices here: Initiate, Master. What I would say is don't get the Initiate. Kind of pointless. If you're gonna go in for an expansion, might as well go get both. I don't know why you would get only one expansion, not both. So here you go, we're talking about $64, and this is where it starts to get expensive, right? So $64, which is almost 75 American, plus 15 bucks. You're looking at almost $90 with shipping for this light of a game. It starts getting up there, even though the quality of the components is good. It's getting up there. So, and plus you probably have to add this 10 bucks if you're not an early backer. So you're looking at almost $100, almost exactly, for this game. 2 expansions, 2 mini expansions. It's getting up there in price. You know, you're competing with some of the big dogs at $100. The value starts getting a little iffy because you're adding so many expansions. You know, expansions in Kickstarter, like usual, I always mention in most campaigns, they're always overpriced because that's where the company is going to make more money. They release 1 or 2 minis, for example, and they charge 20 bucks for it, whereas the base game had like 100 minis and it's 100 bucks. Like you see, it doesn't really make any sense, but it is what it is. If you want the exclusive stuff, you got to get it. Now, if we're looking at long-term value, this is where I'm going to stress that I think it will definitely hold its value, because if Asmodee comes out with this game and it hits the masses and it becomes a massive hit, just like Splendor, one of those, I don't know, lightweight entry-level games, people are going to want the expansions and they're going to be rare, and I can see a situation where the expansions are highly sought after whereas the base game is not. So sure, you probably get the base game for cheaper in retail, but these expansions will be super rare and you'll probably be able to sell your complete pledge for over $100 easy because there's no other way to get it. All right, that being said, they could release this game again on Kickstarter like they've already done. Like Space Race was 3 campaigns, this is already their 2nd campaign. They could re-release this one again with a new expansion where you can go pick it up. That's going to take a hit to the price of the expansions because you'll be able to get them afterwards, but there you go. So that's my overall thoughts. I'm in for $1. I might go all in or not, I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking about this one or Freedom 5, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. But there you go. Let me know what you think about the game, if you're going to back it, what you think of the value. Let's go to the next one. All right, here we go. So the next one we're going to look at is Veiled Fate. And for this one, I'm going to actually ask you guys to write in the comments below, please, and tell me why this game is making so much money. I don't understand. It's at $500,000. I don't get it at all. I watched 4 playthroughs, a bunch of explanations. I read the rule book. I looked at the value proposition. I don't understand why it's making this much money. You could have put this campaign next to another campaign that's only making 50, 60,000, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. All right. And one of the main reasons is the value proposition is really bad, and I think that's what we're going to tackle first because I really want to stress how bad the value is in this product. Before we look at that though, I'm assuming one of the reasons it's making a lot of money is this company is also an animation company. Maybe there's a bunch of fans that they have in that sphere that's coming over and backing this, just like all those comic book strip guys that made games like Trial by Trolley and all that stuff that make a ton of money just because they're popular in their other sphere. Maybe that's the case. If that's the case, write it down in the comments below. I have no idea, but to me this just looks like horrible value. So let's tackle value first because I really have to get that off my chest here. So what are we looking at? So the base game here is 65 bucks. And what do you get for $65? Okay, I'm gonna go through this fast. You get 9 standees, about 40 regular cards, 96 micro cards, which have the same, which are basically the same 3 cards over and over. So you probably get like 20 copies of the same card. You have a 1x and a 2x version of every card, but essentially it's the same cards over and over. 1 board, minor gripe again. I don't even know why they're puzzle piece boards. They're always in the same order. Just make it a board. Anyway, and then you get 36 tarot sized cards. That's it. And okay, some scoring markers and a couple of trackers. Okay, whatever. And that's it. $65. That's insane. If somebody would have shown me this for retail games, I would have said $50 was probably fair. All right. If you're telling me it's 65 in Kickstarter and you're bypassing distributors and stores and all that stuff and you're taking in more of the profit, this is just horrible value. I can't even imagine what they were thinking saying. And you can't even say, like, sometimes some games it could be misleading why it's high in price. For example, if there's a lot of art, a lot of minis and stuff like that, but because you have to pay the sculptors or the artists or whatever. In this one, there's almost no art. You're paying for 9 demigod pictures and a board. That's the only art in the game. That's it. Everything else is this stark black and white concept art thing that they have going on here. That's it. They also have game trays, whatever. I don't read too much into that. It's just vacuum formed plastic, cheap to produce. Maybe you'll add $1 per copy of the game because you have to pay game trays to design it, but it does not add that much value to the overall product. So just really, really expensive. That's really what I have to say. Now, if we're gonna look at the next pledge levels, we're gonna go by pledge level. So the base pledge level, already it's horrible, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna come out at retail, so I'm guaranteed it'll be less than $65 or $80 if you take in shipping. So if you just want this product, wait till retail. All right. Next, we're gonna look at the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, because obviously you'll want to get this instead of the base game. And what do you get extra? For 20 bucks, you get 9 minis and 10 extra cards. Still, overall, a pretty bad value proposition. All right, I'm gonna say these minis are not impressive. They're not huge. They're not high quality. When I went through the examples, they're not at the level of CMON and all those companies, so it's still pretty bad value. And then here, if you want to go into another stratosphere of underwhelming value, you can get all the minis and tokens in metal. You're essentially going to pay 2.5 times the price of the base game to get your minis in metal. All right, is that a good value? To me, no. Again, in my opinion, if you're into metal, I don't know, maybe it's good value for you. All right, so look at these minis. Really not that great. So some extra add-ons here that we can talk about. You can get some sleeves for $9. Those extra cards from the Kickstarter exclusive stuff is $6. An extra coin for $5, and you can get a die instead of the coin for $3. So none of these are fantastic values, but that's always the case for all these add-ons, so that's okay. So that's what I got to say about value. The value that's in the box is really, really, really bad. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about long-term value. The value is just so bad. I don't even want to talk about that stuff. It's just going to get me upset. All right. So I've been talking for a while now. Let's just talk about the game a little bit. All right, sorry about that. I lost connection there for a second. So let's talk about gameplay here for a second. What kind of game is this? This is a strategic hidden influence game. Essentially, at the start of the game, you're given one of these cards. These are the demigods of the game. You want your color to win by the end of the game, but it's hidden influence, whereas you can move any god you want on the board and sort of manipulate any of them however you like, and it's all hidden. So at the end of the game, I think they have a blurb here, whoever is ahead is gonna win. All right, the main way you're doing this is by moving the gods onto these quests, and these quests you can either give you points or negate points for the gods that are on the quest, right, depending on how the fate cards turn out. Okay, so that's essentially the game. You're going to be playing between I believe it's 9 and 18 quests depending on the player count, because I think you play 3 per age, so that's 9, and 6 per age, that's or 7 per age, so maybe 9 and 21 quests depending on the player count. At the end of that, 3 ages, whoever wins is win the game. We'll flip over your god. Whoever has the most points is going to win the game. All right, so hidden influence. The reason I say strategic in quotes is because this is a long game. Okay, this is not one of those simple hidden movement, hidden information games. This one is pushing 60 to 120 minutes, and this is true because for both 4-player playthroughs I saw, they were pushing 2 hours, and for the 3-player ones they were pushing 60 minutes, so it is a little on the long side. The other reason I say strategic is Maybe at 2 and 3 players it's more strategic than the higher player counts, because in a higher player count there's no way you're going to keep track of everyone's movements and information that everyone's doing in the game to try to figure out which god they're trying to control. You're basically just going to push your agenda as much as you can. I mean, if you're trying to track 8 different players, what they're doing on the game board every single turn, your head's going to explode. And if that gives an advantage to somebody with great memory, well, that's good for them. All right, so there you go. That's what I got to say about the game. Let's talk about some of the issues I might have seen in some of the gameplays. First issue, I think it's kind of obvious. There's only 2 types of cards in the game, black and white, and they only come in 2 flavors, 1X or 2X. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the 2X versions are twice as good as the 1X version. Alright, so if you're given more of the 2X cards than other players, you're inherently influencing the board twice as much as all the other players, right? So I found that a bit weird. I thought that maybe a different assortment of fate cards might have been a better way to go, or maybe have some abilities on it like play 1, draw 1, different things that might have changed it up. Right now you have a deck of almost 100 of these cards, but they're the same 25 cards in all the types over and over again, right? I mean, it's the same 4 cards, so 25 copies of each over and over again. So it is what it is. All right. Another thing I find weird, I mean, this is maybe just me and the type of games that I like to play. In these type of games, I mean, I saw it in the playthroughs as well. The winner at the end, it's almost half or 75% luck that you won, because you're gaining a lot of points in the early and mid game based on complete luck that somebody might be moving your god in a specific area, or voting with you or against you in a specific area. You can get smited early on multiple times, losing points, not even get off the 0 track, and then in the 3rd age you know you've already lost. So it's a type of game where, like, you know you're in it or not by the 3rd age, and there's almost nothing you can do about it, because it's a game where you can go up to 12 points. In the 3rd age, let's say the leader has 8 points and you have 0 points. You already know you lost. Alright, but then you got to go through the motions for another 45 minutes. And then you might king make on some random movement that you've done through the game. So for a game that's of this length and of this style, I think it's maybe way too long, and it's way too luck based to last that length. All right, so that's what I'm going to say about the game. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. I really just want to get to the next one. So again, let me know below why you're excited, why the value is so high, why you're backing it. Is it just their other sphere of making animation that's bringing people over? I don't know. Just let me know. I'm very curious. Let's go to the next one. Okay, here we go. So the last one we're going to talk about today is Freedom 5. So again, this one's doing pretty well. 260, almost 2,000 backers, but we're really early. It's still 18 days to go. And thankfully I didn't review this one or go over this one too early, because at first this was horrible value, but then they unlocked a bunch of things, so it's actually getting better in value, because essentially the retail price was the hero pledge at one point, so you were paying $100 for what you can get now for 50. So just to keep an idea of how bad of a value it was to start off, but you know, it's fine now. Let's just go through it. This is brought to us by Arcane Wonders, and if you don't know what this game is, it's essentially the marriage of Defenders of the Realm and the Sentinels of the Multiverse theme, I guess, right? So Defenders of the Realm is sort of a Pandemic style clone, but with a ton of dice chucking. All right, so it's a lot more thematic than Pandemic, and a lot more of a dice chucker. So this one is sort of the same game. It's an evolution of that game, but some really great additions as well. We'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. And then it's also married with the Sentinels universe. So if you know that universe, all the base characters are here. You're talking about Legacy, Baron Blade, Sub-Zero, whatever his name is, and all that stuff. There you go. So let's just talk about gameplay first, because there are some real significant differences from Defenders of the Realm that I find great improvements, and there are some detriments as well. So some of the great improvements, just like the Sentinels game, each character is very unique. You're gonna have your own deck of cards. Each one's gonna play very different in play style, so they have that going on in this game. Each character is gonna act very different as well, not just their deck, they're all their special powers and so on. I just love the teamwork that they introduced in the game. You're sharing cards, using your abilities on each other. You're using your dice when you're fighting the bad guys all together in the same spot. Great stuff. And finally here, I love I don't know if it's a new anarchy system, if they used it in a previous game or not, but it's sort of like a questing system that they're adding into this game, where you can go fight anarchy. You can lose on anarchy, but also if you defeat the anarchy, you get a huge benefit. And these are like almost like quest thematic things going on, like defeating a drug lord, helping an old lady, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is, but it's just an injection of theme into the game. Okay, I think this is a huge improvement on Defenders of the Realm. One of the things I like to look at when I watch playthroughs and all that is the game easy to follow? Do I understand the rules? Do I need to look at the rule book to sort of understand specific rules? Because I don't want to spend time looking at rule book. I want to be engaged in the game. Even though this game has a ton of components, a lot of stuff going on, I find it easy to play, easy to follow. So it has that going for itself, right? It doesn't have that many like lingering rules and stuff like that. So it's, once you get the grasp of it, you're easily going and nothing's really stopping you until you reach the end game. All right. Oh, finally, the last thing that I find great about the game is these comic books. All right, so you're gonna get comic books in the game, and they're essentially the scenario that you're trying to finish, right? So you're going through the comic book. So you go through the first page. When you accomplish something, you go to the next page. Something's gonna happen to the big bad, and so on and so on. So you know, it's a great system, and it's a great addition to the game. I really like it. Okay, so let's talk about some bad things. I did see a couple of bad things that I found a bit weird. In general though, if you've played Pandemic or Defenders of the Realm, one of the problem with those type of games is the alpha gamer problem, and I saw that a bit with this game, but that's more of a, you know, group problem than I would say a game problem. So keep that in mind. If you have alpha gamers in your group, this might not work too well. Another, you know, issue that might be again for your group is, this is, like I mentioned before, a lot of dice chucking. I mean a lot. So if you're not into that style of game, you're not gonna like this at all. Almost everything you do in this game is chucking dice. Okay, so keep that in mind. And the third thing that I just have to mention is, unfortunately, there is a lot of downtime. All right, if you're playing with people who are AP prone or not taking their turns fast enough, this game can drag on a while. It takes a while for it to come around back to your turn. Even though you're doing a lot on your turn, you're doing like 7-8 actions on your turn, so your turns take a while. But then if you're playing 4 players, then you got to do the bad guy's turn, the other player's turn, the bad guy's turn, the other player's turn, the bad guy's turn, the other. It's gonna take a while for it to come back. I don't see how they can prevent that. I mean, the Sentinels of the Multiverse card game prevents that by having all the heroes do their turn, and then the bad guy does their turn, and then all the heroes do their turn. This one has the bad guy doing a turn in between every single player's turn, plus every player's turn is very long, so the time could be kind of on the extreme side. All right, so those are the things that I see in the game. All right, but overall, mostly positive. There's just some lingering bad things that I've seen overall. All right, so that's the gameplay. Let's talk about value. Quick, base game, retail edition. Throw it out the window. Don't even look at that. Just get it in retail if you're interested in this box. All right, so what we're really looking at is the hero pledge here, $99. I mean, the $199 is just stuff that you can get in the add-ons, and we'll talk about the add-ons later. But what do you get for 99 bucks? What you're gonna get is what's in the base pledge. What you get here is better than what you would get in the retail Defenders of the Realm. So that's like a $70 value, and this is better than that. So let's, you know, you're already paying, you're not getting that much value, but what like I said at the beginning of this whole video, is that at the start it was only this, so it was a horrible value. But because they're unlocking a ton of stuff as they go, and remember, this is really early in the campaign, that's why I'm keeping an eye on it, because I don't know where it's going to stand in the end. They're unlocking a bunch of stuff, so you're getting more heroes, more villains, all the henchmen have been upgraded, you're getting pouches, new scenarios. You know, I don't know how far this is gonna go. For $100, if they release an extra 5 heroes and 5 villains and all the, oh, one major upgrade, sorry, forgot to mention, is all the villains now are miniatures compared to the base game, right? And these are substantial minis. These aren't like tiny zombie side minis, these little dinky things. These, each mini is like 60mm scale, so they're pretty gigantic, right? So keep that in mind. That's what you're getting for the $99. So the value, I can't really talk about it too much because I don't know how far this is going to get, right? If it just stops now, it's kind of expensive, but if they unlock another 10 characters, heroes and villains, 3 more scenarios, well then you're getting into the sphere of like, it's okay, now it's definitely worth it because you're getting a bunch of things, right? So it's kind of hard to judge what the value is going to be right now. Lastly, to end the video, let's just talk about long-term value, resale value, all that stuff. I'm not sure. The one gauge that we do have is the other Sentinel stuff and the Defenders of the Realm stuff. So all of that stuff didn't really hold its value. So is this going to hold its value? History says no, but this is a completely different game. I mean, it's not, it's the marriage of the two. I mean, Defenders is a highly regarded game. It's in the top 250 of BGG. If this one comes out in retail, it'll probably hit the top 250 as well. It's a better game than that one. So as long as people are buying it, it'll get the ratings it needs to pass Defenders of the Realm. I mean, it depends, the support as well. I would say if the Arcane Wonders comes out with a lot more expansions to this, you know, it'll probably hold its value because people are going to want the exclusive heroes and stuff. Also, like I said before, if they release another 10 heroes and villains, you know, they have a bunch of extra exclusives in this game, it'll definitely hold its value because of just the sheer quantity of content in the game, right? So that's that. So there you go. So those are the 3 campaigns for today. Let me know in the comments below if you're backing them, what you were thinking about them, you know, if you had anything negative or positive to say about whatever I said. So we'll see you in the next one. Later.